Well, hello there, life group leaders. It's been a while since we've sent one of these out to you, but we thought in the midst of some transitions that have been going on with staff here at Calvary, particularly with the life groups ministry team, this would be a good time to communicate with you again via YouTube. With me, to my left, and to your left or right, I don't know which way this will transpire on screen,
Right.
this is Steve Lutz, who is now the leader of the life groups ministry team, just joined us a couple of weeks ago. And so, Steve, as a means of helping to introduce yourself to the life group leaders, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Happy to be on board with Calvary and eager to get to know many of you. Arrived here in State College, actually back in State College 2 years ago with my wife, and we now have 3 kids, Samuel, Micah, and Abigail. And
Very biblical names. He loves the Bible.
My wife is named Jessica. We met here at Penn State in the 90s, and after that we got married, and I went to seminary in Philadelphia, worked with a couple churches while I was there in Philadelphia, including helping plant and start a church in Philly, working with college students, wearing a lot of different hats. That church actually became multi-site, so I had some experience with that. And then a couple years ago, God led us back up to Penn State, and I've been doing campus ministry with CCO.
CCO is the organization that Erica Wrights is part of.
That's
and
right.
Bill Saxton and some other Calvary folks
Will
have been
Gigante,
connected.
Several Calvary CCO connections there, and that's how I originally became familiar with Calvary. Got connected with Calvary more meaningful way as I got to know Dan Nold about a year and a half ago, and began meeting with Dan somewhat regularly. And so when the possibility came to join the Calvary team, and specifically with the life groups, that was a real fantastic opening for us, and we're glad to be coming on board the team because Calvary's been a good place for us, and we've really been loved and encouraged and met here as a family, so it's good to be able to serve and give back.
Sure. Well, Steve, we're excited to have you on board. Obviously, working with the Life Groups ministry team, you're going to be doing life group stuff. So tell us a little bit about your experience and background in the world of small groups.
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's been a great joy to me just to get to know, as I've gotten to know you and Bob and some other folks on the team, to be able to come in and work with an area of ministry that has so many positive things going for it right now. I know life groups has been an area of strength and a real area of growth for so many people in Calvary. So that's been a great situation to come in and want to help life groups go to the next level. Personally, one of the marks of my ministry and the churches and where I've served has been seeing people be discipled, and doing that often in whatever you want to call it, small groups, life groups, missional communities. There's a lot of different terms for it. We're all trying to do basically the same thing, and that's to equip people to know God more, to love one another, and to love our neighbor. And so that's been a mark of what I was doing in Philly, both with college students and then coordinating that, helping see people get into that throughout the church, and also what I've been doing here at Penn State with students and leading students to lead other students for the mission at Penn State, and eager to carry over some of that, some of what I've learned into Calvary.
Okay. Well, could you share with us maybe just some specific things that you really get excited about, that you're passionate about, that gets you out of bed in the morning?
Yeah. One of the things that just fires me up, I'm always thinking about how can we, as the Church of Jesus Christ, become more outward facing, become more engaging with our friends, our neighbors, our coworkers, our community, seeing that shared value is so much part of the DNA of Calvary, is part of what drew us here and kept us here. And what I'm really passionate about in this position and getting to know the life group ministry here is to equip our life groups to become even more outward facing, loving on our friends and our neighbors and our coworkers, so that both in our service, in our word and our deeds, that people would hear the gospel of Jesus and experience that through the community that we share.
Mm-hmm. And certainly that's been, as Steve said, that's been part of who we are as a church at Calvary and part of who we are as a life groups ministry. And increasingly we want to head down that path to always allow ourselves to be open to whatever God might have in front of us with those who are not part of our circle, and to have our eyes open to the community. And so we're going to be excited to have you on board to help lead us further and further in that direction.
I'm excited about it already. Yeah.
Steve, do you have any closing words, final thoughts you'd like to send off as you, again, continue to connect with this wonderful group of life group leaders?
Yeah, probably more than we could fit in this short video. But I'm a guy who's leading a life group myself, and there's definitely those weeks when, there's a big part of me that would rather, could we skip this week? Maybe nobody will show up.
Steve,
I'm
horrified. What, you don't always want to go every week?
I'm just keeping it real. But here's the thing. I know what it's like on a weekly basis or however often you meet. Sometimes it can be a tiring thing. Yeah. It can be hard to want to give and serve other people. And I just think often of that verse. Let's not become weary in doing good, because at the right time we'll reap the harvest. And so I want to encourage you in your faithful service. I know, man, Calvary has some very faithful servants. That's something that's really drawn us here to this church. Yeah. But I want to encourage you to keep on serving and keep on loving people in Jesus' name, and look to Him for the grace and the power that we need to do that, because at the proper time He will use that to reap an amazing harvest. So keep at it. Thank you for your service, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you and working with you here with Life Groups at Calvary.
Sounds good. Well, that's a good word for us. Feel free at any point to get in touch with Steve if you have any questions, concerns, anything you want to fire his way. His email address will be very cleverly steve@calvarysc.org.
That's right.
So feel free to shoot him a note or give him a call out here at the office, and we're excited to move forward with the Life Groups ministry with Steve leading the charge.
Yep, glad to be here.
Thank you much, folks. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.